Welcome back to the Boise State Esports Arena. Now it's time for the second and final Overwatch game of the night. We move on over to the Mountain West, where Boise State is set to go up against some very old rivals indeed. UNLV Rebels all set up to face into the Boise State Broncos, the undisputed top two teams in the Mountain West, both of which up until this point have had an undefeated season. But that all could change here tonight. I'm your host, Jacob Palmer. Joining me is Bryce Jensen, and I've been alluding it to I alluded to it in the intro, but these two teams really have one of the longest histories as rivals.
Yeah, ever since the beginning of the esport, both of these teams have been going head-to-head, and in the beginning, UNLV was the undisputed champion of Overwatch esports. They were so good going up until just a few seasons ago, where Boise State managed to pull ahead and start winning consistent championships. I believe you said that they won 5 in a row currently in the Mountain West. Before that, it was pretty much UNLV sweeping everything else.
Yeah.
And I think that, I think Boise State is going to have a slight advantage over UNLV going into this matchup, but both teams are currently 7-0. It's not a matter of if one of these teams is not going to be undefeated in the preseason. It is a matter of which team will be undefeated in the preseason going into this. It is going to be a thrilling match one way or another, and honestly, both of these teams have been – it's been put in the stars that this will be the best match that we've seen so far.
Now, here's the thing. If you joined us yesterday for our PEC pre-show, we got to interview Doc Haskell. He said, we're confident going up against UNLV. It's a match we want to have. It's a match we like to have. We're not as intimidated by it as we used to be since, we've gotten all this new talent, great players like Strider joining the team, Boise State's overall talent level consistently going up as the seasons move on. But, as Doc said on the pre-show yesterday, if we're too overconfident and we go into a match not taking it seriously, that's what's led to a lot of Boise State's losses in the PEC, whether that be in Rocket League against Michigan State or a number of their Valorant losses. So even if Boise State is stronger than UNLV on paper, it's not done and dusted until they actually win the game. And one of the ways that they can win the game is, of course, to follow Doc's keys to the game in Overwatch. It's never to take a fair fight, which means to take fights in unexpected places when your opponents are unprepared, and try to build up as much tempo as you can. It's all brought to you by Blue Ribbon Painting. With a combined 90 years of experience, they're proud to be Boise's go-to team of local multi-generational painters who know exactly how to level up your home. If you would like to transform your space, and you can go to blueribbonpainting.net to schedule your free estimate.
One way or another, this match is going to be a great one. I mean, like you were saying, if one team is better on paper, that doesn't necessarily mean they're better in practice. I mean, two completely different things, but it does look like we are going to be starting this off on Samoa, just like in PEC.
And as you also notice, it is a shortened best of 3 for the Mountain West. So Boise State could be winning this on hybrid, as most of their Mountain West matches have been just simple 2-0 wins. They've been very fast matches for the season.
Yeah, imagine we go Samoa and Kings Row again, and we're going to have the same starting 2 maps.
Oh, it's just what I wanted for Christmas. It's all I could have asked for.
Well, we're in March. It's what you want for Easter.
But it's very early. I like to be ahead of the curve.
That's fair. You got to start the list early.
I'm not a little late. I'm a lot early.
That is true.
All right, here we go. Boise State ready to jump back up on stage. Of course, we see a lot of the players that really made stars of themselves last time. Maxo and Clear up there. We also got Diamond Dog at the far end of the stage. Daydream also sitting next to Maxo there. A lot of really good crew. There we go. Now we can see the right side of the stage.
Yeah, honestly, I think this was one of the better additions to the stage. You can see all the players with their own dedicated face cams, and I'm sure that you saw it if you were watching the PEC show. We also have a dedicated face cam recorder during games that we can show as well, and it's a good way. It's like a streamer cam. Hey guys, what's up? Today we're going up against this guy in PEC Overwatch. Join in, but first a word from our sponsor, Factor. They're not sponsoring. They're not sponsoring us.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, I could make so many jokes about internet sponsors right now, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
But off we go into the Mountain West. Stop. Please. I have enough. I have enough bad memories as it is. Okay.
Raid Shadow Legends was
Yes.
a scam. It was nothing like the ad said. There was like maybe half the amount of heroes
I
they
keep
said.
asking him to stop, and yet he keeps continuing. This is why I'm willing to fork over for YouTube Premium, because I don't have to deal with these types of ads anymore. Anyway, as we're ready to jump on into Samoa, Boise State, I think the biggest thing that was really good for them as a strategy when they were going up against Ohio State was their ability to split up the enemy team. As soon as Strider got on that wrecking ball, he kind of, the other team just really didn't know where to focus.
Yeah, Wrecking Ball is really uncomfortable for teams that don't really know how to play against him because are you going to shoot the several-ton ball of steel in your backline, or are you going to shoot his backline, who's completely undefended but also has a Brig and most of the time a lot of the DPS line? And a lot of the time the strategy with the ball is, okay, we're going to ignore him. But the thing is, with how Strider plays, you can't really ignore the ball because what he will do is he goes into your backline, chunks down one of your players to almost nothing, either gets the kill or doesn't, forces a ton of resources to save that one player, and then just leaves.
And that's the thing. It's almost like you have to be proactive or kind of predict where Strider is going to go. It puts a lot of pressure on those supports like the Brick to be able to know where Strider is and just kind of preemptively try to keep him away from the back line.
And we've seen the counters come out a lot of the time. We've seen the Cassidy, we've seen the Sombra, we've seen just about everything that counters ball. We've seen a little bit of Reaper this season, but nothing really works because in order to stop the ball, you have to kill the ball. And it's a lot easier said than done. Even with the hack, even with the absurd amount of damage, even with the hinder, you still have two machine guns that are pointed right at you that deal a lot more damage than what you'd think.
Yeah. And he just knows all of these maps also just so well that he's able to hang up above a lot of choke points. That's a classic favorite of him, just waiting for the back line to come through. It really, and especially, he was good when the ball was just kind of an out there pick. It's just kind of his comfort pick. But it's been so in his wheelhouse ever since it became meta.
Yeah, and now that perks are on the table, it allows him to play a lot more aggressive and get a lot more picks that he probably wouldn't have found otherwise. 150 damage per slam with the pile drive perk, that is an incredible boost. It turns ball from kind of a minor annoyance to a major threat. But here we go, a rerun on Samoa, this time against the UNLV Broncos versus Rebels in the first round of what's set to be the best Mountain West match that we have seen all year.
Off we go, and we're going to be starting out on the exact same stage that we did with Ohio State.
Good omens.
Yeah, it's a good way. If we just have a run back of what we saw last time, we'll be out of here in 2 matches. Boise State ready to face off against some old rivals. The very first team, I think the Mountain West, when they started their esports program, kind of had a exhibition match showdown kind of thing. This was all the way back in, I think it was 2017, 2018. Anyway, and it was Boise State and UNLV fighting up there on stage, and it's been a hot rivalry ever since, and one very fitting of the volcanic stage, I have to say.
100% here, and it looks like we're going to see the Malga roll out once again. I can't quite tell what team that is, but I'm going to go out there and say that it is Boise State, and I think it is. Both teams rolling out on the Malga. QWERTY Tumor trying to take a little bit of space, but ends up losing it. Clear doing too much damage. Oh, Omniflar manages to get the first pick on Daydream, though. That is a lot of healing that is just off the table, and Tumor is also going to take out Maxwell, forcing an early retreat for the Broncos.
QWERTY Tumor and Omniflarp are some of the old hands in UNLV. They've lost a lot of their key talent, but those 2 players in particular have been around with the Rebels for the longest time, so it doesn't surprise me that they're going to be the main leaders trying to get the Rebels to a win.
Lots of long names on this UNLV team that I'm just now noticing. Clear trying to take some pressure off the front line onto the Omniflarp. Nothing found out of it, taking a lot of damage in the process, but no pick was able to be found from either side. Strider trying to find some picks, but Daydream keeps getting cut off. Hex also being found, and Clear, once again, cleared out by Sojourn.
Axel just hasn't been able to get any sort of good angle to try to start running up the numbers. Omniflarp and Hertz, Kernmaster, they're all getting very close to their ultimates. Maybe if they hold one more team fight, they can have a huge ult advantage over the Broncos and maybe ride that all the way to victory.
Yeah, Strider trying to find a pick on Mr. Mustard Man, manages to get the deflect out just in time, but that is one ability that you really want to have as Genji. Qwerty Tumor, though, is going to be the first to go down. Clear, managing to find the pick, and looks like Strider is just going to run over the back line. Kern Master and Hertz quick to fall. Omniflarp and Mr. Mustard Man are going to fall soon after. Boise State making up a lot of the lost ground that they had in Ultimates, but I will say, Hertz with the Orbital Ray is just has a little bit more of an advantage, especially with
Orbital
Tumor
Ray and Rally.
almost having his ult.
I mean, both of those are just great engage ultimates. Omniflarp, Qwerty also going to be coming online. I mean, all of them, really. I mean, they're all ready to go, basically. They could all just press Q and just pull over the Broncos and see if that happens. As Ray is brought out, as well as the Rally. Kernmaster starting off with the pick on to clear. Boise State is using their own Rally and Cage Fight in retaliation, but it's a question of 3 ultimates going up against 2, and UNLV just uses the pure ult economy plus very deadly accurate shots by Omniflarp to take out the Broncos and wrestle back this control point.
Qwerty Tumor just had that slightly better cage that allowed him to deal a lot more. Plus, Clear not able to find anything with the Death Blossom too, which is a fight turner in and of itself. But Daydream has her Orbital Ray for this next fight, which could be a tide turner if she doesn't get picked early on, which we've seen Mr. Mustard Man is more than capable of doing, but it does look like it is going to come out. Out comes the railgun as well. Maxwell isn't able to find anything, but Qwerty Tumor left on low health, starting to fall back, and looks like Omniflarp is going to be flipping the map onto the Broncos side. Mr. Mustard Man playing in the back line. Out comes the Dragon Blade, and out goes Omniflarp's overclock as well. Mr. Mustard Man finds Daydream, and Hex goes down to Hertz. No supports for the Broncos, forces them in, and Hertz is going to go down as well. It is just Mr. Mustard Man, and Boise State is going to take a clean team fight with no ults to speak of on either side.
But the one we're probably going to be seeing the soonest is this Orbital Ray coming back online from UNLV. I mean, if they realize, if they're tracking these ultimates and realize that they can use this ultimate maybe on this next fight to retake it, there won't be anything the Broncos can really answer with. So if they're quick enough, they can take this back.
Ooh, Omniflarp does disrupt the shot, but Maxwell takes the only ult they had off the table to start things out. That is why we have him on this team, and it's why you need to respect the railgun. Finding another on Kernmaster. Mr. Mustard Man soon to follow. The Rally comes out, and the Orbital Ray trying to keep UNLV in this fight, but is it going to be enough? Qwerty Tumor trying to rush to the point, but doesn't get there in time. Omniflarp manages to bring this into overtime, but he is going to get gunned down by the entirety of Boise State. Hertz trying to find his way back, and Kernmaster as well, but no match for the Death Blossom. It does look like Mr. Mustard Man is going to be touching, but not for long as a shotgun shell pierces him in the face. Boise State takes the first round, 100-81.
Ooh. But there were a lot of team fights win in both directions here. I also have to wonder, you had a little bit of a combination mid-fight between Mustard Man and Omniflarp. Both of them decided to use their ultimates in a fight that really, I have to wonder if they had kept that, the Orbital Ray would have been available next fight. That would have been 3 they could have slammed into the Broncos with. I think, you know, just...
I mean, also...
It's easy, of course, the fight wasn't won, so we say, oh, okay.
I mean, also having that Orbital Ray for that second to final fight would have also been a tide turner.
That was the main thing. Maxwell, oh my goodness, claims one of the best highlights of the week.
Claims the fame. But moving in...
What is this clock trying to do with its holographic projections? That's Kings Row wheelhouse. Don't you try to out Kings Row.
Yeah, but it does look like Hertz is going to be finding himself in a little bit of a poor position, but he manages to get out of it. Boise State manages to flip the map on UNLV. Qwerty Tumor taking a ton of damage in the process. Omniflarp down to half, able to get back up, and Boise State is going to capture first. Daydream going to be taken down low because of Omniflarp, and now both teams are really just looking for that first pick to start off this team fight.
Ryder ready to hold on in. Boise State, Gritty Tuber is able to take out Clear. He manages to slip by Strider. Now we got both Malgas fighting on the point. Their Sports trying to pump as many resources as they can into them. Mustard Man manages to get the strike against Strider, and Hex soon follows. UNLV has a good team fight to take it back, and Boise State only gets 27.
Although, because Boise State captured first, they have a lot of ult percentage advantage. They can realistically take this next team fight. Win or lose, it'll be even for them.
And another thing to consider is Strider has the major perk that allows him to count as 2 heroes on the point as well. So it means that UNLV really has to, kind of try to stay on this point as much as possible.
Oh, Hurts!
Oh, it's going to make that take-back charge that much faster. Hurts gets eliminated, but it's traded back by Clear with an elimination onto Clear. Omniflarp eliminated by Strider. And now that's a very big support gone for the Rebels. We'll see how well Pretty Tumor can hold down the front line as Strider has held on this cage fight. Maxwell and Hex both backing him up to get the final hits against UNLV. Broncos take it back.
Nobody's used an ult yet, but with everybody either having their ults or not, you better take a drink of water before this next fight, because Overclock is already on the table. Cage fight comes out of both Malgas and Overclock as well, and out comes Overclock from Maxwell. Hurts with the orbital ray is going to be enough. Clear goes down to Cordy Tumor, and the rest of Boise State is forced to back off. Hurts use their orbital ray, and Daydream still holds on to hers, but from the looks of things, Hurts is caught in a bad position, but Mr. Mustard Man with 2 manages to clear it out. Boise State only used 2 ults there. Now, was that strategic planning, or was that UNLV dumped too many ults and we couldn't respond in time?
They haven't gone all in on the ult. As much as I'd like to frame this as, they're dumping ults, when I say dumping ults, they're really only using 3 out of 5. They've consistently been saving 2 out of 5 whenever they have all 5 charged up. So it means that this isn't going to be an easy Bronco win either, but that orbital ray sure helps as Daydream pops it.
Daydream pops it. Clear and Strider both trying to roll up on, but it looks like Cordy Tumor is going to be trying to take this. Both rallies get popped out, and out comes the Dragon Blade. Canceled by Maxwell before it gets any value. That's not only 1 player down, that is a massive hold off the table, and it looks like Clear is going to find the next on Kern Master, and Maxwell unable to save Clear from Omniflarp, but is able to slide into the back line. Not able to find anything, though. Both DPS down out of Boise State, and out comes Omniflarp's own railgun, but the point's been flipped to Boise. Daydream goes down, Mr. Mustard Man soon to follow out of Hex, and Strider is just holding down this point, takes down Omniflarp, and is the only one, or no, he's not the only, yeah, he is the only one left on point. I forgot he has the thing that allows him to get 2. But from the looks of things, the cage is going to come out of Cordy Tumor, but the Ray isn't going to get there in time. Clear manages to get the kill early. Ray comes in, and out goes the Death Blossom, unable to get away with the cage, and that it looks like GG out of Boise State. UNLV loses the first round, leaving Boise State up 1-0.
But that's exactly the type of control round I want to see, with team fights going either way, a seesaw battle. Now, one thing, when we have the play of the game here, and we have the team, and they have their player, but they have the tag that they can add on. Clear, convenient enough, didn't add his tag, but so my little analogy here falls by the wayside. But I have to say, if there was one tag that I could give to one player, it would be Maxwell as spoiler. Because, oh my goodness, did he cancel so many ults from UNLV.
Yeah, I mean, not only was it the Dragon Blade at the end, it was and if he wasn't canceling them, he was taking them off the table completely. He took out Orbital Ray in so many fights where it probably would have won it. In every single team fight that UNLV used an Orbital Ray, they won. They had really good coordination with the Malga Cage fight and the Orbital Ray. One of the best team-up coordinations, because giving your Malga even more health and even more damage when he has 2 machine guns with 300 ammo is a recipe for disaster for anyone who gets caught in it. But Orbital Ray is just such a great ability, and when you take that off the table completely, and the fact that Brig doesn't exactly heal a ton, you've pretty much won yourself a team fight.
Doc, though, really stressing the importance of just not getting too overconfident, because even though some of their top talent is gone, we're still seeing they have competent players on that team. They've got Cordy Tumor. They've got
Mr. Mustard.
Well, Mustard.
I mean,
No,
he may not be old, but he is still pretty good. He was getting quite a few picks in there.
No, I'm thinking of the other one, but I can't get my mind past Mustard Man. I'm so sorry. No, the other DPS, they're Sojourn. Let's see, there was QWERTY Tumor and I'm going to kick my Omniflarp. That was it. Yeah, QWERTY Tumor and Omniflarp. They're quickly establishing themselves as kind of the main targets, and especially if we're talking so much about spoiling ultimates. I mean, Omniflarp on that overclock has definitely shown can pick up doubles, can pick up collads, can do everything that a Sojourn is meant to do.
And he's proven time and time again that he is the foil to Maxwell. We saw quite a few times where Maxwell was taken out by Omniflarp in the very beginning, and we did see a swap. Not from Sojourn to Reaper, but from Genji to Reaper at the very end there, from Mr. Mustard Man, which maybe taking a page out of Clear's book and seeing how fast it shredded QWERTY Tumor, that maybe it was the play against Malga when every single one of your pellets can hit.
Speaking of the Malga, it's the first time we have seen the Two Hearts major perk come online. It doesn't sound like a lot, on its face. It doesn't have a flashy effect in terms of damage or buffing your ultimate, but really counting as two people on that point, not just for taking control back, taking those points back faster, but especially as we move on to hybrid too. You're going to be pushing that payload faster. It just is, I think, kind of a real sleeper of an ability.
Yeah, especially because, while cart pushing is capped at 3 players, you can't go faster than when you have 3 players on the cart. You're going to have 2 players on the cart pretty often, and when one of them's the tank, you want to have that too, so then you're getting the maximum boost while the rest of your team is off doing other things. And a slept-on piece of information about that is that you have no idea who's on the point. Is it the Malga counting as 2 and then one of the supports? Is it both the DPS and a support? Is Malga right behind me? I will never know. I
mean, it's one of those things that kind of shaves off at the margins, that kind of makes the win or loss bigger by a factor. I mean, you talk about push, too. I mean, if you're pushing back with the robot, you're increasing the speed.
Push is actually 1 set speed.
Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't affect in push.
All right.
But that's the only one it doesn't affect, which I think is weird.
Okay, so every other. Again, I'm still thinking about Mr. Mustard. He's messing with my mind here.
Oh, mustard. Ugh, I don't like mustard.
I do.
Yeah, I mean, it has its place. Don't get me wrong, but I don't see how people can put it on everything. I've had it on some good Italian sandwiches though.
Yeah, that is true, but you can't have that without mustard.
That is true. I mean, mustard is Italian, I think.
Mustard's been around since ancient times, really.
Well, I mean, so is Italy.
I mean, that is true. I guess Romans and Empire. Okay, no, that actually makes sense. Okay, yeah. But anyway, Boise State. Just waiting for the choice to come through from UNLV, and it has to be a darn good choice from the Rebels because, like we said at the beginning of this match, it is best of 3. Boise State already at match point.
If we're going to see anything, how about we see a Numbani? I mean, we had some in meta, hasn't really come to fruition quite yet, but I mean, Numbani is where Orisa is from. And if Orisa is going to be meta, then so should Numbani.
That is true. It would be the perfect, flavor combination.
Even though Orisa is not exactly the greatest pick into Numbani, which I think is kind of anticlimactic from a design standpoint. Because, on all the other maps where, characters are from, I guess King's Row, Reinhardt isn't from King's Row, but Tracer on King's Row, really good. Junker Queen, Junkrat, and Roadhog, all really good on both the Australian maps. I mean, it seems like a missed opportunity from Blizzard there.
Well, Boise State. I just heard Doc said he said he's really looking forward to seeing this next match. It's
not going to be hybrid at all. It's going to be Runasapi on push.
Interesting. Okay, now I know for sure why he was so excited here. A little bit of a wrench thrown into the plans. We're going to be heading on over to push on one of the newer stages.
And Runasapi is slowly growing on me as a push map. I mean, I still think Noon Queen Street is the best push map out of all of them, but Runasapi very close second there. It is a nice map. I like how many secret tunnels you can go through to get to the enemy faster. And despite it looking like a W, like it curves back and forth several times, it's honestly got 3 different lanes that you can go down. It's almost built like a Call of Duty map in a way, because you have the top corridors,
Or
you have
like,
the bottom
like a MOBA
corridors,
map.
or like a MOBA map.
You got your 3 lanes.
Yeah, you got your 3 lanes. You got top, mid, and bottom, but you don't have the jungle, so it can't be.
Well, what about all those tunnels you were talking about? Isn't that the?
Well, I mean, I'd count those as the lane because it's trying to get from point A to point B.
Okay.
And the jungle, that's a lawless land. I mean, you're going to die to monsters out there more than you're going to die to any players. But moving away from MOBAs, Overwatch is not a MOBA.
No.
Into round 2, what could be the final round for UNLV. And Boise State looking to take this in a 2-0 win.
Well, I don't see any trolleys on this stage as a push map, but I do see cable cars, which I am still very happy to see. So that's still a rail form of transit in a way.
Yeah, it is. You just move the whole cart along a stationary rail. Actually, now that I think about it, trains are no different. It's just the opposite orientation. The train sits on top.
Yep, this time it's just hanging from the rails. Anyway, as we move on, my priority is clearly very straightened out right now as Boise State is sitting on the edge of victory, and I'm here looking at cable cars. But off we go. Match is starting. Clear already putting a ton of pressure onto UNLV. Able to take out Mustard Man. And Pretty Tumor is looking pretty bad as well in terms of health, down to about 25%. Omniflar, huge chunk taken away, and Clear's trying to get the final shot on. Strider is able to finish off Pretty Tumor, and Boise State already has this robot pushing forward.
Oh, and Kernmaster is going to go down as well. That is a bad stagger. If you're Hertz, you have no bodyguard now.
Good to see you.
But that was probably the best way to start out that fight. Taking out Mr. Mustard Man takes almost all the pressure off of Strider to just run in and do whatever he wanted. And I think Cordy Tumor miscommunicated with his team and ran the wrong way. But in the end, Boise State is going to push it almost to the checkpoint. Mr. Mustard Man being brought down lower than 100 HP. That almost spelled the end for him there. They're going to take Cart back, but Clear is just there to foil their plans at every turn.
Also having to deal with this Brig up on the high ground, but Hex is able to shield back right into him. Omniflar falling to the railgun. Hex gets rid of Pretty Tumor. That's just too many rebels down for Mustard Man to bring it back. Boise State will take it and continue to widen their lead.
Boise State, though, does get the forward spawn, though, so Hex going down isn't going to hurt as much. Maxwell trying to get an early pick. Unfortunately, when it goes the same way as Cordy Tumor, you aren't going to get a pick on him as easy, but of course I say that, and then he goes down to a quarter health, forcing him off once again. Both these DPS from the side of Boise are just playing this so great, taking different angles, and Clear has made his way into the back line without me looking, and is looking for some way to go in. Out comes the Orbital Ray, but in comes Clear, doesn't find anything with the Death Blossom, and Cordy Tumor is going to drive himself right in, and unfortunately Clear, in his greed, is not able to find Hertz, and unfortunately gets picked by Mr. Mustard Man.
Oh, Strider able to even charge.
First team fight win for UNLV. Cage is off the table for Strider, but it is very much still on Cordy Tumor's plate.
Pretty Tumor also having gone with the too hard perk. Count as 2. That's why you see 6 pushing forward on the payload. We did not go back to Overwatch 1. He's just got that perk.
Now we accidentally tweaked the map settings, but out comes the Cage. Cordy Tumor taking a ton of damage, but the Orbital Ray comes out of Daydream, and while she does get picked, Hex manages to get Kernmaster. Goes quickly down to Mr. Mustard Man, but the only person to heal left on UNLV's side is Hertz, who goes down. Boise State manages to win in the team fight. Even though Cordy Tumor and Mr. Mustard Man got their ults off quick, UNLV has nothing to work with in this next fight, and Hex has Rally on standby.
Yeah, they hardly made UNLV get anything there, less than a meter in forward push. We're back ready for a full team fight. Only ultimate on the board is Hex's Rally, and he'll use it to great effect. Already Cordy getting pressured as Boise State makes their way up the center lane. Omniflar lands a shot onto Daydream. Boise State back in forward progress, though. Going to be very close to crossing the 100-meter mark.
It does look like Clear is going to find a pick with his Death Blossom. Strider is going to steal it from him, though, after getting a triple on Hertz and Mr. Mustard Man, and is now on a roll to go take out Omniflarp. That was, he had a mission to get Omniflarp there. That was no distractions, no holds bar. I am going to get that Sojourn at all costs. But now he has ultimate online, and Hertz also has their Orbital Ray too. Boise State backing off to take this next team fight at hopefully a more advantageous position.
Clear hanging up on the high ground, tries to drop down to get a bunch of damage onto QWERTY, has him down below health. Strider, cage fight. His gets taken out by Omniflarp, and Maxwell lands a railgun shot onto Mustard. We see the overclock from Omniflarp trying to land his shots, but they're evading him for now as Kernmaster picks up Hex. Now has his rally online. Maxwell will answer back in tandem with his own overclock, but it might not just be enough to bring back this fight as Daydream and Strider bite the dust.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate time to use it. Just not quite as many targets as what you would have liked to see. But moving into this next team fight, once again, QWERTY Tumor has his ult online, the cage fight, and Daydream is really close to her Orbital Ray. Not quite there yet, but in the middle of this team fight, probably when QWERTY Tumor wants to use his ult, Daydream will have that Orbital Ray, and it'll just be another foil. But Mr. Mustard Man coming up close with his Death Blossom could be the foil they need in order to take this cart to the forward checkpoint. Clear doing a ton of damage, getting up close, and out comes the Orbital Ray once again, and out goes the rally from Kernmaster to even things out, and out goes the Death Blossom, takes out one, and the great Hex goes down, and same with Clear, but Maxwell picking up one for the team as well. QWERTY Tumor down low, but with Hertz still alive, that is not a very hard hill to climb to get to save their tank there.
Yeah, it was just a game of anything you can do between the two teams. Both of them having very influential Death Blossoms. Boise State now having to wait just a little bit longer, wait for Maxwell to come back online. Now,
rally from Hex goes through, but Hertz finds the first pick on Clear with a little bit of help from Omniflarp, finding it on Daydream. Kernmaster gets the pick on Strider as well, and even though Hex used rally, nothing comes out of it. Hertz gets Hex, and another win for UNLV.
but they're still a ways off. Boise State built up such a lead at 114 meters. They are going to have a cage fight with really nothing to fight back from the Rebel side. Up we go. It's going to be if they can use that ultimate fierce and fast. This will be a one fight for them. Or Maxwell can just pop off and get a double with a disruption shot onto Omniflarp and then a railgun shot onto Mustard Man. And now we see both cage fights dueling Venn diagram style on the point. QWERTY Tumor is able to take out Clear and Maxwell. Strider and Hex, though, coming in clutch for the Broncos, as well as Daydream along with them. All three of them claim the robot, and we'll get a bit of comfort distance, a little bit of a safety barrier back on the field.
That's why it's always good to cage second. You give yourself just that little bit of a, barrier. And it allows for you, it just allows for you to tank so much more damage, because not only do you have your health bar, you got the health bar of the shield as well. And while the forward spawn has finally been taken off the table for UNLV, but Omniflarp is going to get the first pick on Daydream. Both rallies get traded out, trying to keep themselves alive. In the case of Boise, it is their only source of sustain, but with Kernmaster going down, that is one rally off the table. Strider finds it on QWERTY Tumor, too much damage being thrown at him, and it looks like Omniflarp is going to be next to fall. Manages to slide out, but not for long. Hex finds Hertz and Omniflarp going into this next team fight and gaining forward spawn as well.
But something tells me we are going to see the final 2 minutes of this fight fully expanded, because it's just so difficult to push this far up and move uphill as well. Boise State almost toward the barrier again to build up their score, but UNLV has taken it back. Omniflarp gets his overclock online, but the first ult used is his orbital ray, and it helps Maxwell take out Kernmaster. It ran into the back line, but their mean healer Hertz also goes down. Now there's no healing whatsoever for UNLV, and Boise State can build up their lead even more.
Yeah, Maxwell hanging out around the robot, and Clear Clear is looking to do something nefarious here. Omniflarp does have Railgun, which is going to come out, but he gets hunted down and slept! Yeah, slept out the ultimate! QWERTY Tumor goes down to Maxwell, and the Orbital Ray comes out as well. That is one tank down, but at the same time, what an unfortunate way to use your Death Blossom. Omniflarp goes down, Railgun comes out of Maxwell, finds Hertz, and the Death Blossom goes out of Mr. Mustard Man, allowing them to win this.
You know, as much backline diving as we have been seeing in just single target focus throughout both of these matches, even though it wasn't our side, I still gotta say, it was still satisfying seeing the sleep dart land and put an end to all the shenanigans.
I'm gonna get this guy, I'm gonna get there.
All right. Oh.
Only 2 cage fights to work with going into this final fight, and it looks like UNLV is going to be the first one to use it. And from the looks of things, Clear is working their way in, and Strider is going to be the first to go down. Unfortunate out of him, but Kernmaster soon to fall to Clear. Unable to be healed though, he'll go down as well. Maxwell getting another 2 picks, and it is only QWERTY Tumor left on this point. Counting for 2 though isn't going to matter if you cannot push the bot forward, and with so much sustain, Boise State is going to win it in overtime. 2-0. Woo! Closing out UNLV's perfect streak and keeping Boise's going.
But even though it was a 2-0 win, there was still plenty of twists and turns throughout those games. And there we go. Strider will be given the final player of the game for the night.
Yeah, I think this was the one where he just hunted down Omniflarp. I believe this was it. Yeah, he takes out Mr. Mustard Man. He sees Omniflarp, and oh, we're not going to get to see it, but we saw the start of it.
Oh, man. Great win for the Broncos all around, though. They've closed out their PEC season with an undefeated record. And now they get protect their perfect record in the Mountain West as well. So good performance all around.
Definitely. We saw a lot of really good plays out of both sides. The poor Junos on both sides were just getting consistently taken out first. And you got to feel bad for both of them because it was the Briggs who ended up doing most of the healing. Although I will say, all the fights won had an Orbital Ray. I mean, Orbital Ray might just be the best ultimate in the game.
Yep. I really can't disagree with you there because it's been the ultimate that, you know, it's the comeback ultimate.
It's the ultimate of all time.
Yep. Well, we still got to bring you the top 5 plays of the game. We had so many cheeky plays during that match. I don't want to waste any time. I want to see the top 5 plays of the game.
DPS down out of Boise State, and out comes Omniflarp's own Railgun, but the point's been flipped to Boise. Daydream goes down, Mr. Mustard Man soon to follow out of Hex, and Strider is just holding down this point, takes down Omniflarp, and is the only one, or no, he's...
Maxwell can just pop off and get a double with a disruption shot onto Omniflarp, and then a Railgun shot onto Mustard Man. And now we see both cage fights dueling Venn diagram style on the point. QWERTY Tumor is able to take out Clear and Maxwell. Strider and Hex, though, come here.
Unable to be healed, though. He'll go down as well. Maxwell getting another 2 picks, and it is only QWERTY Tumor left on this point. Counting for 2, though, isn't going to matter if you cannot push the bot forward. And with so much, the Orbital Ray comes out as well. That is one tank down, but at the same time, what an unfortunate way to use your Death Blossom. Omniflarp goes down, Railgun comes out of Maxwell, finds Hertz, and the Tumor, but the Ray isn't going to get there in time. Clear manages to get the kill early. Ray comes in and out of Death Blossom, unable to get away with the cage, and that it looks like GG found a boy.
Scott Matlock, underrated recruit, has built himself into one of the best defensive players in the Mountain West.
What would you do if you couldn't fail? Would you see every setback as a catalyst to keep going? This is the innovator's mindset, because innovation demands daring. Is finding thousands of ways that don't work, and the one that changes everything. It's when your unrelenting spirit sees the world's needs and says, I will create something better. So, what will you do? Will you let your genius run wild? Give yourself the space to be great. Set your sights on something even bigger, because we know changing the world doesn't happen by chance. It comes out of the blue.
Growing up in Riggins, we have certain rules we live by. Look both ways before crossing the street. Fishing stories get better the more you tell them. Small town life makes your life anything but small. Never work alone when you go hunting. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
At Blue Ribbon Painting, we're proud to be a locally family-owned and operated business, dedicated to bringing your vision to life. Whether it's freshening up your home with interior or exterior painting, or tackling a commercial project, we've got you covered. When you choose Blue Ribbon Painting, you're not just hiring painters. You're getting a team that's committed to making your vision a reality. Call or text us at 208-369-2583 or visit us at blueribbonpainting.net. Your project deserves a blue ribbon finish.
Idaho Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance.
Welcome back to the Boise State Esports Arena. We hope you enjoyed that top 5, but tonight, before we end off our show, we have a exclusive interview from the Boise State DPS, Clear, who is playing a lot of the Reaper tonight, and honestly had some of the best picks I've ever seen out of Reaper going into this game. And I just kind of wanted to get your opinion on a few of the character choices that were made in the first round. We saw a little bit of the Malga Reaper going into the PEC game against Ohio State, but it seemed to be a lot more of a mainstay when it came to UNLV. Was that a planned sort of adaptation, or was that more of a spur of the moment, this is working, let's keep rolling with it?
I think that Reaper is really strong with the Malga comp. I think especially with the perks that recently got added to Reaper, he pairs really well with Malga, and Malga is also really strong right now. So I think that in combination, which is being really confident myself on the Reaper individually, I think it's a good choice for us right now.
And, you know, speaking of the Reaper, there were a lot of plays where, I mean, just even looking at this one, King Donut stood absolutely no chance. You have 2 railguns being shoved right in your face, and then you have the Reaper on him. Were you ever, like, nervous in any of this, especially with some of that life steal?
I never really get nervous. It's just a video game, but I'm confident when I'm playing characters that I'm comfortable on. So I think Reaper is definitely one of them, and I think I showed that today.
And, you know, moving out of the Mountain West and a little bit more towards PEC, you completely no-dipping the backline of Ohio State. That was probably, in my opinion, one of your best plays of the night.
Thank you.
You just have this Junker Queen basically acting like a wrecking ball in the backline and being a total menace to the other team. And going back to Runasapi in Mountain West, that final Death Blossom you had going into their backline, was that planned?
It was kind of hoping to make things end faster, kind of end the night off type of vibe. I didn't know they swapped on us, so then I got slept and died, but, you know, things like that happen. I just want to also shout out Jenny, also known as Daydream. She stepped up really big these past 2 weeks. Carter wasn't available, Lyric, but we're really proud of how she played. I think she filled in really well, and I'm excited for the upcoming LAN tournaments now that Lyric's back. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and think we'll do really well.
Yeah, especially with the final games of the year coming up in the beginning of April. I wish every one of you guys luck, and I really do appreciate you coming on
Thank
for
you.
this interview. But with that, we are going to end off our coverage of the Mountain West and PEC games. We hope that you guys enjoyed the games as much as we do, and make sure to join us next time as we go into Valorant tomorrow night.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.